I'm Valerie, and you're listening to the Hey Love podcast. We know just what it's like to have a queer and woman-owned small business team. After all, we're Hey Love Studio.
Here, we'll be sharing our tips and tricks of what we have learned over a few years running a small business.
Whether it's a marketing strategy or how to get new clients or how to even just treat the clients you already have better, we're going to let you in on all the little secrets that make our team successful.
So join us along while we untap topics to make sure you shine and hype your clients up and pay those bills. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of us. Thank you so much for sticking out. But today we're going to go a different route a bit. Usually we talk about a lot of weddings and elopements and stuff, but if you didn't know, we actually do something called affirming sessions. And it's a big umbrella where we want to include other sessions that you can be behind our camera or in front of our camera.
In front.
Yeah. And that includes family sessions, senior sessions, events. What else?
Milestones in general, right? So newborns, pregnancies. We've even had the chance to do kind of end of life photography. So we've done it for pets who are going to be crossing over the Rainbow Bridge. It's any moment truly that is a moment you want documented in time. And obviously there's a lot of photographers who focus on kind of one piece, right? Maybe they only do newborns or they only do birthdays.
Yeah.
As a photographer, frankly, that's usually a pretty good business model. But what we've found is that for us, it's less about what we're documenting and more about who we're doing it for. Are these, maybe queer people? Are they people who really align with our values? And so that's why we made the affirming section. We've actually had the chance, I would say with seniors in particular, do like a lot of trans seniors or queer seniors who otherwise might not have felt fully themselves in front of a traditional photographer's lens. And that's kind of what made us start affirming sessions.
So if you haven't seen it, we don't post about it a lot because we do want to focus mainly on like elopements and weddings and stuff because we love it. But we also want to make sure that that we create safe spaces in other ways. We are never going to shut down or close a door to especially the queer family. And if you ever come to us, we most likely would say yes to whatever you have in mind. I especially want to talk what makes our sessions different and why we still choose to do them.
Yeah.
So if we can talk a little bit about family sessions and if you can think about a client that comes to us, what do we usually tell them and how do we usually approach these sessions?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I think we did some of our first family sessions because queer families wanted a photographer. So a little bit about us. When we started our photography journey, we were based in the North Texas area, which I read, according to the Dallas Morning News, used to only have about 0.3% of families in the DFW Metroplex were identifying as like same-sex couple families, like queer families. Now that number is up to 1.5%.
Hell yeah. Who's repopulating this world?
We're
the
trying.
Queers.
We're trying, but there's not many of us. And so that's really why we started doing these family sessions was because we noticed that there's frankly not that many queer families in the North Texas area, but now a lot of those queer families want the same things that all of us do, which is beautiful family portraits, but maybe they don't know who would be a safe space. And that's really the sad thing is in this day and age, obviously, I want to say most photographers, most creatives, I want to say.
Can I tell you something spicy? There, you should go on Facebook.
Did you see that list?
The LGBTQ vendor and wedding stuff, and there's a list now out there of photographers, not venues, not for like.
It had venues too.
Yeah, but I didn't see this one coming. A list of photographers. Anyway, go on.
To Addie's point, right? Like sometimes I incorrectly assume that just because we're photographers, we're more creative, that we're more liberal leaning, but that's not always the case, right? There are plenty of photographers, especially in the North Texas area, who, for a variety of reasons, in the South, the American South, there's a lot of photographers who are still not comfortable. And then, as we'll always say, even if they are inclusive, they might not be affirming. And this is literally why we ended up choosing affirming photography, right? We emphasize that not only are we inclusive of all families, of all ways they grow, but we're also affirming of them. We've also had the pleasure of doing adoption events. A lot of queer families, they may not have children in a biological typical way. So we want to celebrate that. We want to celebrate chosen families, blended families. There's just so much, and we want to affirm the love that is shared. And that's really where we ended up, I think, coming into this.
Oh, yeah. I think so for Hey Love Studios, we always have conversations on why we're doing this, who do we want to serve, how are we serving.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for us because we acknowledge that what we are doing is just way more than just photo and video. But I think for me, what stands out is the way that we celebrate people that come to us for affirming sessions. And that comes through also, and you can look it into our photos, how naturally celebrated and happy these people are. And there's a few ways I can think about that we do is have moments of connection that we create with family sessions. If you think about a normal family session, it would be centered around getting the post photo, get it done, everyone looks good at the camera. And yes, we do that. We do include that because I do think it's important to have a polished photo like that. Create pockets where we create joy and celebration and communication almost. Like my favorite moment was asking like a big family session to look at each other, and depending on the season we would ask something out of pocket. Do you have any one question that we really love asking that you find is the best reaction out of people?
I really love asking the question of during the holiday seasons, like gift giving seasons, we love to be like, point to the person who gives the best gift. And it's always funny because somebody ends up pointing to themselves or
It's a Leo in the background there.
yeah, the fire signs for sure. Or like sometimes we get a bit more sentimental, like we did a multi-generational shoot. I love multi-generational shoots. And we asked everybody to look at who's the best cook in the family. Now, to be honest, we already knew the answer. Everybody was going to say grandma, or in this case, abuela. But to actually see that emotion kind of come up in everybody, to have that pause and be like, God, yeah, that's one reason why we love abuela. I know, is we love the food she makes. And obviously not right now, we're not eating it, but we can all kind of have that memory.
Oh,
and
sorry.
It can capture,
I
can capture that emotional response.
Yeah, and the thing is, I didn't have like, sorry, I'm crying. It's not about me. It's about me. But like, I didn't have that moment with my grandma, right? And like, to be the person who can capture that. Why am I getting so emotional?
Well,
you know,
silly, but not silly. This is why you started photography. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I don't know myself.
You started taking more photos more seriously because you love and cherish the one photo you have of your grandma.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think those photos, you know, when we think back to the film photography days, we didn't have the luxury really of capturing a lot of candid moments, right? When you only have 20 shots and you are wanting to prioritize a classic, clean, what we sometimes call a grandma shot, everybody's smiling and looking at the camera. You don't always have time to allow for that candid joy and that candid connection. And I think that's something that always really drew you to photography, was the fact that now we do have that capability with digital, right? To make those little moments and see what happens.
I personally don't always like it's like, oh, we freeze moment in time, like those classic sayings, because I'm like, barf, can we get less cheesy in the photography world? Yes, your freezing time is called a photo. Like there's literally a timestamp attached to it. But for me, the emotional driven part of it, you know, will always be way bigger, and I will never be able to ever communicate it. Unless like we have intimate conversations about it, or I have literally a meltdown like now, where I can actually physically show my emotions around how much those moments mean. And like I was now thinking about new grandma cooking and stuff, and I was thinking about our senior session that we had with a friend of ours that we met at Equality Texas. Was it Equality Texas night? No, it was a CRC Rockwell, right?
Yeah, so we do a lot of nonprofit work, and so what Addie's referring to is we were capturing the photography. We were volunteering, donating our time and services for a gala benefiting the Children's Advocacy Center of Rockwell County. So it's a really great group of people who are there for when kids are going through some of the worst stuff you can imagine. And so it's really a center, like I said, advocacy center that advocates for the kids. And so we were there at a gala capturing the moment.
Met Michelle, and Michelle was like, y'all gay? Because my daughter is a lesbian and she's a senior and we need to take photos, and I'm looking for someone who she can feel safe and good around. You know, obviously we saw her planning her session. In fact, she actually won a silent auction at another event where we also volunteered a session, and she used that for her daughter to have a senior session with us. But I remember going, like planning the sessions. It was easy going, like they had ideas, but it was really like just border range. And then when the session started, we were like, okay, cool. We love all of these years. Let's meet here. And it was at the fabrication yard. And I told her daughter, just be yourself. I don't mind what you wear, like just be yourself. And usually what I do with my seniors, and feel like this is also with our family sessions in general, I ask, hey, tell me, what do you feel comfortable with doing? Is there anything that you feel uncomfortable doing? Any poses that you would say necessarily you won't feel like? Is there an energy that you want to feel like during these photos? Like, do you want to lean more masculine? Do you want to lean more feminine? Do you want to lean like stronger or more softer? Like, where are we at? And I remember Michelle just watching. She is a lovely human, been through so much. So she doesn't hold back in life. Yeah. And if she's feeling joy, she shouts joy. Yeah. And Michelle was in her element, seeing her daughter glow. And even with her daughter, it was incredible to see that in the beginning, again, senior sessions always felt like this. It's a bit awkward. They don't know what they're doing. They know they want this. They don't know why they want this. Yeah. And sometimes they don't want this and then realize they really want it.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of times seniors are forced to do this by their parents. And then by the end of it, they're like, yeah, we can leave mom at home because I'm having the best time.
Yeah. Or start asking for poses and photos and stuff. That's 99.9% of the time. But the joy that family experienced within that session, that's why we do this. That's why we have affirming sessions.
That's also sometimes a little different than other family sessions. Not to hate on other photographers, but we often see a lot of photographers who do like mini sessions for families. And so it's like 15 minutes in and out, done. And to be fair, there's a time and a place for that. Some kids, that's all they have energy for, is 15 minutes,
and
right?
if it's wildflower season, you only have 2 weeks of that.
Yeah, so you got to get them in and get them out.
Yeah.
But what we have found is that sometimes those sessions, because they're so short and so hurried, it tends to bring out really uncomfortable emotions, right? You've got parents who are screaming at kids to sit down and smile. Who smiles happily when they're being screamed at, right? And so these toddlers are not having it. Their parents are freaking out. You know, maybe mom's already stressed because dad didn't get ready when he should have, and now they're late, and they know that if they're late, their session is gone, done.
And a great photographer would know how to navigate these things.
But we've seen it, right? And even if it's maybe not a photographer, it was so funny. We were once at a park and a family was struggling to capture the photo they wanted with their iPhone. And I could see that a lot of it was because the mom was really frustrated that her phone was on a tripod and like kept falling over.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember
that?
this? And the little girls are standing there and mom is like, you need to have your shoes tied and look like this and do that. And so I just walked over and I was like, hey, I'm a photographer. Can I just use your phone and take a few photos? And we just did a couple of our usual poses. Hey, look at the person who makes you feel really happy when you see them at the end of the day. Hey, point to the person who reads you your bedtime story. Oh my gosh. And granted, I don't know if these parents like loved their photos or not, but the thing is like, even in those moments, we could see the shift in how the family was. The family at first was very stressed, overwhelmed. Clearly, this was important to mom, but they weren't doing what mom wanted. And mom, you know, is not a professional photographer, doesn't know, A, how to like use the gear she had, and also B, doesn't know how to communicate what it is she wants, right? Yeah. And that's why you hire us. So we were able to step in, give them some poses, get them some really nice images. I mean, that's really why we do what we do.
Yeah. I do love how, as photographers, we are given the space to make those moments calm. Most people wouldn't even know this, but last year, this time around, I took a lump sum of our savings. What savings? But I took a lump sum of our money and I actually invested it into an educational course. And now if I say lump sum, I mean thousands. It's a brilliant course and I'm still doing my certification because I want to make sure I know the lighting correct. But I digress. I've learned that new word. I digress. One thing that really stood out for me in that certification is the fact that some sort of like when people know what to expect.
Yeah, but like procedures, having a plan.
Yes.
Having communications of that plan.
Yes. Those are still very important in our sessions. So just because we center around joy, movement, and candidness, we do have a procedure or a sort of shot list in our mind. And this is usually what we share with you in our planning calls, whether you choose to have an actual call with us or a text message. And I really want to talk about that because like if you think we talked about toddlers, how they are at family sessions, how we get toddlers to really enjoy the moment and take family photos, even if it's a 30-minute session or longer. Would you mind sharing what we do and what we love to do?
I think a lot of our way of helping toddlers stems from the fact that we're both former teachers and we're both very proud aunties. We have a lot of nieces and nephews, both biological and just like best friends, babies
Yeah.
who we have in our life. And so we've gotten to really see a lot of children grow up. And I think also thinking back to ourselves and how we felt as children, I think especially you remember a lot of the emotions you had as a young child. And so we try to be very aware of all of that going into these sessions. A lot of toddlers, you're going to see a lot of like nervousness
Yeah.
and shy energy right at the beginning. Maybe they've never done this before. The camera can look really big and intimidating, even though these days a lot of toddlers are very comfortable taking selfies on a phone. And of course, there's new people, right? I look maybe more traditional in terms of being more feminine appearing and wearing
I have a
skirts.
funny accent.
Addie speaks weird, says weird things.
I don't know.
These toddlers are like, what's happening? I've
Yeah.
never heard this before.
You're a new person in their little world.
their little
And
world.
most likely they're dressed up in
Yes.
clothes that they don't
Parents.
necessarily feel comfortable in, which fair enough. Okay, parents, we understand that we want to look good for photos.
But the kids have been kind of coached, hey, today this is what you need to do. And
Show me your biggest smile.
sometimes rewards are promised and sometimes punishments are used, right? Like, so when we come into the space, we want to make sure that we're setting those kids up for success. So that way the parents or caregivers feel a lot more relaxed and overall we get a better session. So what that looks like is a lot of times the very first moment is obviously we introduce ourselves to the families, but we also introduce ourselves to the kids. I think Sandra Cohen, like you mentioned, your educator, that was something that she said was really important.
She gets on their level.
Yeah, which is something we learned as educators. Sandra is also a former teacher. We learn as educators that children work a lot better when you're eye level with them rather than talking down. So we take that moment, we get eye level with them. We kind of talk them through what it's going to look like. Hey, we're going to start with a few photos of you and parent number one. And then we're going to do all family together. And then we've got a bubble gun.
We love a good
always
bubble
bring
gun.
the bubble gun because it gives the child something to look at that's in the direction of the camera. So for whatever reason, they're a little shy or nervous about looking at the camera. It gives them something to look at. And then bonus, they get to play with it. And the moment they play with it, their eyes light up. Their parents and caregivers get to give them a cuddle. It's literally the best. So we usually are able to do all that and it gets the kids pretty comfortable. But sometimes they're still a little nervous about the camera. So what do you do when they're like a little freaked out?
Do you remember our big family session over Christmas?
Yeah.
This was a new scenario for me. I have never had this. And in fact, in my certification, Sandra always told us, babies are not scared of the strobes. Don't be afraid of using lighting with them to get gorgeous photos, right? Nah, toddler walks in and was like, I don't trust that big thing.
Yeah, they did not like the lighting setup with
They were like, that
umbrella.
thing is flashing every time. People are smiling, yaying, cheersing. And I mean, there was about 40 people in this photo.
Yeah, easily 20 to 30. It was a large, multi-generational family session.
I mean, this one toddler was not having it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't want to say like, oh, we can just ignore it. She matters.
Yeah.
And she mattered to me. And what we did then is I got somehow the family together and we started playing like a peekaboo situation where we would count down and then I would take the photo. And she slowly got used to that. But then I remembered I need to show her the photo. I need to show her what we are doing because she's seeing this big light going off. It's scary, clearly. And no matter who or how or where we tell her that nothing is going to happen, it's not going to hurt her, her brain is not.
She doesn't know what this is.
And then we took a photo. I walked immediately to her and I showed it to her. And I was like, do you want to see yourself in this big picture? And with my little fingers, who's like, I don't do touchscreen on my back screen of mirrorless. Other photographers don't judge me. But I pressed my buttons and I got there and I was like, look at your beautiful smile. Do you want to see Mama smile? And I went to Mama and she got so excited. And right after that, we're good. Queen was fabulous. We got the photos. We did the silly ones even. There was no more tears. There was no more scariness. You know, all of that went away. She still wanted to run around and we prioritized the big family photo and we were like, you are released. My child. You can run free now. But I think like having them there and showing them what's happening and including them in that process is a big thing. Yeah. Okay, it's going to touch the same thing. This is how it's going to go. And then you need to choose one. You ready?
I don't like
You have to choose one affirming session. Family, senior, newborn, maternity, events, or milestone. 3, 2, 1, go.
Newborn.
Me too. I love
The
a good newborn
babies.
photos. And like with toddlers, when there's a newborn baby there, that's
Toddlers have a
so
lot of emotions too. They're no longer the baby. They're no longer the center of the family's world.
yeah.
Toddlers can have a lot of uncomfortable and like seemingly negative emotions at newborn sessions.
But I love it though, because then you're like, sometimes we get so hyper focused on like, oh, but now you're a big sister or a big brother, a big sibling.
Yeah.
But we forget that maybe they didn't even ask for that. What we do is instead is we allow them to take a photo, be behind the camera. Show me your favorite part of your new baby. Where's the nose? Where's the ears? In any case, so we're talking about just like we have a short list to make sure that family sessions, senior sessions, all these things do flow really well, and that there's some sort of like, you know what to expect, but at the same time, we don't do it very stiff and very
Yeah. We really, I think, again, we try to avoid that. We try to avoid us bringing that negative energy of hurry up, sit down, do this, do that. That's not our energy. That's not what we want to communicate and showcase. So we oftentimes will partner with families who understand that the slowness, and I mean, and that's something we talk about with weddings and elopements too, right?
yes, it's
It's
slow.
having a slow session that allows you to capture
Yeah.
all the moments you want without it feeling like we're just doing a photography session. I think for us, we really love to give children the space to kind of be who they are in front of our lens. And I
Yeah.
think, again, that's what even ties into like the way we do weddings and elopements, right? There's so many expectations in the wedding industry. I think a lot of times of like newlywed photos where immediately following ceremony, you're going to do your
Yeah.
15 to 30 minutes of family portraits, and then you're going to do 15 to 20 minutes of newlywed, and you're going to get all of these shots,
Yeah.
and it's very, you have to get these photos, and if you don't, like, ugh, like, why did you get married? And we've had so many couples say to us, look, at the end of the day, those photos are not as important.
Yeah.
Got 5 minutes, and if you get a great shot, great, and if not, no worries. Capture a photo of us at the reception. And it's the fact that we're willing and able to listen to people and actually do what they would like. I think that's why so many people feel affirmed and celebrated and reassured in
I
front
don't
of
know
our
if I
lens.
ever told you this. And we mentioned Sandra, so Sandra is my
Shout out to
coach.
Sandra Cohen.
Love her, and she's helped me so much. But I posted some of Nora's photos. Her favorite photo of all the ones is the one where Nora ran to my camera and then ran back to mum. And she's like, this is gorgeous. I didn't plan for it. I didn't ask her to run up and down. There's photographers that do that. And I think that happened. And, you know, the beauty of that is the ability of a professional photographer then to capture that moment as it's playing out. Talking about posing and stuff, can you maybe remind me 2 or 3 posing structures we do with family sessions? Like what we usually do, that is, I just want to share with them to make them feel comfortable at what to expect at a family session.
I mean, we always love to at least get one photo of everybody like smiling, looking at camera. But what I will say, and we've noticed this when we work with other photographers, is that we're very big on physical touch and connection. Obviously, every family is going to have a different level of what's comfortable for them. Addie's Afrikaans family kisses on the mouth, which is not a thing my family does. But, you know, whether that's holding hands, hooking in arms, giving a hug.
Hold on, we won't kiss for a photo though.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that for a photo, but I know that you do it in general, right? So your level of maybe touchy-feeliness with your family might be higher than mine. But we like to have at least some kind of physical connection between families when we take their photos.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of one pose where everybody's just kind of hooked in, looking at camera. I would say another pose is always we love to have them looking at each other, right? So look at a person who really made you smile this week. Look at a person who you feel really celebrates your wins. We try to give those kinds of positive prompts.
Yeah.
I would say another big one is often like give a cuddle. So especially with younger kids, you know, hey,
Bear
give
hug.
them a little bear hug. Even with older kids and older family members, that can be really nice too.
And when it comes to older families is when we ask them to hold each other's hands
Yeah.
and then just walk towards us. It's honestly something we do in the wedding and elopement industry
Photography.
too. But like it's called the drunken walk, but here it's just the family walk. And you walk towards the camera, you look at each other, you crack a joke or two, ask again, who makes the best food? Who makes the smelliest farts? You know? But those moments are really beautiful and it creates a little bit of like just candid moments. Another thing that we do too is we always ask a family groupings of photos and repeat those similar like
Groupings.
groupings. Caregiver 1 wants a photo with sibling one, then we do that and we do it for every person and stuff. And we make sure that we at least get a variety of photos together. One thing that I really love doing is eye photos. I'm wanting to do this more and more now, is where I ask family members to go cheek to cheek and I cut their faces in half and it's focused on their eyes because as cheesy it is, there's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think there's so much story that your eyes tell, and there's so much connections within your eyes, and I just absolutely love taking that photo.
Well, and it's been really fun when we've taken that of people who are biologically related, and then we're like, oh my gosh, we see that. We see that you have mom's eyes. We see
Yeah.
that you have dad's nose. Like, it's really cool to get to kind of hyper focus on that
Yeah.
for a moment and allow them to also like really see that, especially when they're older.
And I'm talking about that, like, I remember with multi-generation, we do tend to try to snap a photo or two if grandma grabs a grandchild or great-great-grandchild hand. The difference in the age around that is extremely beautiful to document. Yeah, so that's basically what we do with newborn photos. If you opt not to have your child on the social medias and stuff like that, just know we honor that and respect that.
We know that these days there's a lot of fears and concerns over privacy and security, and we are very happy to honor those boundaries. So yes, without a very clear model release, we do not print or post any images showcasing kids. And even then, even after we have a model release, we usually like kind of double check, hey, are you cool if we post this on social? And we're also very big on making sure that applies to anybody under the age of 18. So with seniors, it can kind of be a unique situation because in a lot of ways they might feel like they're grown-ups, but if they're under the age of 18, we're still going to keep like all chats with, a caregiver or parent. We're still going to make sure that parents and caregivers are probably present there.
Yeah.
Just gives everybody a little bit of security, since we know that unfortunately there are bad actors out there.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we are
Honestly,
above
with
reproach.
in the light that's happening right now in the world. I don't know if you saw, but with school photos.
Yeah, it's crazy what people will do with images, and we truly see it as our honor to capture these moments, and part of that means keeping things safe and secure.
Yeah.
So we don't show too much of our family imagery. We do have it. We don't always show it too much.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of wraps things up today.
Yeah. Jessie, do you want to say goodbye to that?
Pets are family too. We love taking pet photos. Just know if you have a cat, we probably need to come to your house. So be prepared for that.
And it's like going to be a slow session because as we know, they do take their time warming up to you.
Yeah.
Any case, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I absolutely love talking about this. And Jessie too. Is there anything you would like to add before we say goodbye? As usual, please follow us on Hey Love Studios and Instagram. I usually post on my stories all these crazy moments in life when it happens. We post beautiful photos and videos over there too. But just come say hello to us. We would love the interaction. We love seeing y'all in real life too. So.
And if you're ready to take some family photos, reach out. We would be honored to capture a special moment for you.
Yes.
Whether that's a milestone or normal Saturday at your favorite place.
Yeah. Till next time. Bye. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And hopefully you've learned something.
Yeah, if something really stuck with you today, please consider sharing it with another photographer, videographer, creative. Make sure you hit follow and consider leaving us a review.
And if you love this chaos, please ensure that you follow us on Instagram at Hey Love Studio. This is where we share our BTS, our beautiful queer love, and other couples, and we would love to see you there.
Until next time, keep creating,
keep celebrating,
and know that, hey love, we got you.